how you learn to do stuff is by messing up or
Mhm.
fucking it up or doing something wrong. But the best way to figure out if you like it or you're going to be good at it is just do it. You're not going to ever be good at it if you don't try it.
Exactly.
You are now tuning in to the Roughnecks podcast with your host, Cole Nixon. Much love.
What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Roughnecks podcast. Before we dive into today's guest, I want to talk to you guys about Desert Fox Golf. I have recently teamed up with them, and they have some awesome products, including the Phone Caddy. Their Phone Caddy is a golf attachment that holds your phone in a very convenient location for you while you are golfing. If you are like me and like to use a golf app while golfing, then this is just the thing for you. They also have a cigar attachment for you cigar smokers that allows you to set down your cigar while you take a shot. One of my favorite things that they offer is the comical swing aid tumblers that allows you to hold 17 ounces of your favorite drink while you play around a golf. Christmas is approaching, and this is the best time to purchase your loved ones some new golf accessories. They are currently running a deal on their website for the whole holiday season where the tumblers are $20 each, and you can still use the promo code HOLIDAY25 and get your second tumbler for just $15. Don't miss out on this deal. Head over to desertfoxgolf.com and make your purchase today. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Roughnecks podcast. This is episode 143. Oh, it said it right there. I just looked at what it was, but this is episode 143, and joining me today is someone that I met through wonderful Sierra, the girlfriend of the podcast. But met this guy, also does some work with a past guest that I've had on the podcast, and we'll get into that. But Chase Cherubini, welcome to the Roughnecks podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's I figured honestly, when I met you at your wedding, and Sierra was telling me about you. I was like, it's weird, like as a podcaster, you're like, that'd be a good guest. Like,
Yeah.
that'd be somebody that I'd like to get on here and talk to. But yeah, I originally met you at your wedding. Was the first time I ever actually met you, and then met you at another wedding again, and then we went to your house for Friendsgiving, where I was accompanying Sierra. But yeah, that's how we met. And then come to find out, you actually do some stuff with Chaney, which I did not know until because I think Hannah showed me. I don't remember where we were, but she showed me like a picture, and I was like, "Isn't that Kyle Chaney?" And she's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "I know who that is."
Yeah, because this is the first time Hannah met you.
Yeah,
Hannah was like, "Oh, me and Sarah think you guys would be like really good friends."
Yeah.
I was like, "All right." Like,
girls, they always think that they're like, you guys would be good together, or like couples, you'll see them and they're like, they'd be a good couple, and it's like, I don't think so, and then they end up dating and marrying, and you're like, okay, they were right, whatever. They just know it. But I like to kick off the episodes by allowing guests to kind of give a background on who they are, so just tell the Roughnecks listeners who you are.
Oh man, I'm a guy I graduated in like 2015. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, so started out working for my parents. Actually, I went to college for 2 years for business. Didn't learn anything.
Sounds about right.
Started working for my parents in digital marketing. They have their own agency. So I started doing that, and then that kind of allowed me to start a YouTube channel and start doing stuff with my brother. And then that kind of all morphed into us mountain biking, like doing all these like fun things that like we've always loved to do, but never really did anything with it. It was just a hobby. Then we started doing that, made some videos. That led to some cool opportunities where we got to meet Kyle and then go out for King of the Hammers and do stuff with him. And we kind of started a media agency, just me and my brother. And that's basically what we did the past year. And that coupled with a bunch of mountain biking and a bunch of other fun stuff that we get into, snowboarding, and that's pretty much what my life revolves around. Got married this year, so
yeah,
Now just figuring stuff out.
You guys all getting married does not help my case with Sierra.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah, but see, you haven't been with Sierra for 8 years.
No,
So
this is true. Yeah, we haven't even been together for a year.
Yeah,
we're getting
so
close, but
you-
not even for a year.
You got a little bit of time. I was like
Exactly.
8 years. I started dating when I was a
You were
sophomore.
running out of time.
So I was like, first of all, like the first 4 years, kind of don't really like. I was in high school.
Yeah, that's You're still trying to figure a lot out at that point.
Yeah, but then I was like, going through school, I was like, man, all my friends' girlfriends like kind of suck. Like they're mean. They don't let them do anything. Like my friends, like people. Hannah just had all the qualities that I was like, man, this is really nice. She lets me do what I want. She's cool. She likes the stuff I like. So I was like, after 8 years, I was like, that's probably not going to change my mind.
Might as well just finally tie the knot, literally.
Yeah, yep. And then we waited. Then COVID happened, so we waited 2 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We were engaged for like 2 years.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you couldn't get anything. Like there was, I mean, you could, but then you probably had limited people that you could.
Yeah, it was limited people.
And what's the point? Like you want it to be a celebration, like a party or whatever you want to call it, but like why only have like if you're gonna do that, you might as well just go to the courthouse and just do that and call it done. But
exactly.
Yeah. The mountain biking, because you guys basically just do the outdoor extreme sports in a way.
Yeah, kind of a little bit of adrenaline junkies.
How did you guys you and your brother get into mountain biking?
Oh man, I think it all actually starts with my dad. When we were in middle school, well, we always had bikes when we were growing up. So like most kids, well, our age, most kids, we would go out in the neighborhood and ride bikes and like make jumps and do all kinds of dumb crap with our bikes.
The jumps that you would make when you were a kid were never safe.
No,
but you still did it. I mean, how many times did you probably wreck? I did many times. I wrecked.
Still crashed. I crashed yesterday. Like, yeah, I'm fucking sore as shit right now. I hate shit. But like, that's how it started. And then through middle school, my dad would just like, he would get us out to do stuff, and he would take us, nothing crazy, just like they have what's called like cross country riding. And that's basically what we would go do. We'd go out to Dillon State Park. He'd take me and my brother. We'd stop at the gas station, get like a couple sandwiches, put them in our backpacks, go for a ride. And then we did that maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Maybe. And then some years we wouldn't do it at all. It was just like very on and off. And then after high school, so I did it a little bit in high school, not as much as like now. I wish I would have. But then I went to a CrossFit gym in Johnstown. So we had like a little stint after high school where we were like real big into CrossFit for like 3 or 4 years. Met a kid there that went to Johnstown, Caleb, that also mountain bike. Was like the first kid my age that I ever met that was like, yeah, I mountain bike too.
Yeah.
So then like instantly became friends, instantly started riding like a ton. And then it kind of morphed from that where we met him. Blake started, my brother, and he quit once or twice because he didn't like pedaling. And then
I don't blame him. I've gone and rode once, and I was not on a bike that's meant for going up hills.
Yeah.
Admit the bike definitely probably makes a difference, but when you're pedaling up a freaking hill and you don't have a bike that's meant for it, it's like, I don't know, why am I even doing this?
Yeah. So he quit twice, but like we kept going, met a bunch of local people, a bunch of friends, and then from there it's like we've built a whole entire mountain bike park in Newark. We've got another trail system going in. We've created a YouTube channel with like 12,000 followers from it. Like we've traveled pretty much all over most of the country. We haven't hit out west a whole lot, but we've ridden in California and Utah. And
where's the nicest place? Like, where was the nicest you think you ever rode?
The best area that we've ever been is North Carolina.
I believe that.
So like the Hendersonville area, which is like Western North Carolina, has like multiple of like the best spots in the U.S. for mountain biking, all within like a 2-hour. Like,
I feel like North Carolina is such an underrated state.
Oh, dude, it's awesome.
Like even like because everybody like if you go to the beach out that way, they talk about like Virginia Beach, Myrtle Beach is a big one and stuff. And like it's like if you just go to the state a little bit north. There's another nice beach. That's where our family goes every 2 years. We're going again this summer. And like we go to the not like the south part of the island where it's not as busy.
Mhm.
But as my nieces and nephews start getting older, we're gonna eventually start going up more north where there's a lot of the attractions and
Yeah.
many or putt everywhere and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's awesome, and like the Blue Ridge Mountains out there, like
Oh yeah.
we've gone and got a cabin in the mountains and stayed out there, and like it's awesome. There's so much you can get, like every type of landscape in North Carolina.
Yeah, and it's not like you don't have to go far for it.
No, it's what you can get to North Carolina in like
It's
8 hours. Yeah,
it's like 8 hours to Asheville, which is like a little bit north of where we ride. But then
Mhm.
there's like they have what's called Pisgah National Forest, which hundreds of miles of like single track trail, which is just like classic like mountain biking.
hmm
And then they have like a pedal only park that they opened. One of the pro riders down there, his name's Nico.
What's a pedal only park?
So like downhill parks are places where you either take a ski resort, where in the summer they turn it into a downhill park.
Okay.
So you ride down the trails, put your bike on the ski lift, and then ride back up to the top. So you don't have to pedal or do anything. Those places, super, super fucking fun because you get a ton of riding, really good riding. But then they took down there that kind of same concept, and the pro rider Nico bought like a piece of land with like a little mountain. It was probably like 500 foot of elevation. Built trails on it, and then built like a climbing trail, but there's no shuttle. So it's
Okay.
like it's almost like a hub. So you pedal up to the top, and then there's like 8 trails that are all downhill trails that you ride down.
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of has now become like the thing that people are doing now. So they built that, which has turned into like a place that we frequent pretty often. We go down there. We have what's called, I don't know if anyone knows, e-bikes now,
Mhm.
which are pedal assist. Like
There's a lot of people are getting into them in the hunting world actually.
Kyle
To get
actually
back-
uses one, yeah.
And they take it back to their tree stand if they got to go a
Mhm.
long ways instead of having to hike through.
Yeah.
Which is smart, honestly, unless you get a deer, and then you're like, well,
What do I do with my bike?
yeah. I mean, a guy I used to work with, he was thinking about, he's in his 50s, and he's like, going out, he's like, it's a struggle sometimes, like
Mhm.
to get the hike back to your stand or wherever. And he's like, I was thinking about getting one, but he's like, I saw the price and was like, man, never mind.
Oh yeah, they're
They're
ridiculous.
expensive, but I rode a couple of them. They are awesome.
They're so, and it rides exactly like a regular mountain bike.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're a little bit heavier, but once you're like riding it, feels the exact same. So they're like, for the people that don't know, an e-bike, it doesn't have a throttle. It doesn't have any way to like apply power to the rear wheel other than when you're pedaling. So like you pedal and it assists your
Yeah.
pedaling. So we have those, and we can take those down to that park, and then that makes the climb up
a little easier.
super easy. And then we can just do laps, so it's almost like a downhill.
Yeah,
park.
well, it makes it a little. I feel like you do it more. Like you'll go up more because it makes it a little. It's easier getting up, like because I mean the uphill part. I feel like obviously is the part that like will destroy you. Like
Yeah,
especially if you're new into it, or even if you're not. Like that's the part that's gonna wear you out. That's the part where you're gonna get really tired.
Yep.
So having that assist will definitely make it more enjoyable for everybody,
Mhm.
and just you're able to do it more often.
See, that's my argument for the whole thing. There's a lot of people that don't like them. They hate bikes because
I get
it's
it.
not the natural like
I
way
get
to
it.
do it.
But like there's people that I feel like that are doing it for like a workout, and people are doing it because they love to do it.
Exactly. And like I work out to work out.
Yeah.
Like I ride my bike because I want to have fun
Yeah.
and ride my bike,
Exactly.
which is what that's for. And like it's still like you still get a workout. 'cause
Yeah,
you
it's not like it does everything for you. You
Yeah.
still have to do it.
It's more of a cardio workout because you're pedaling faster to go faster, and you just end up riding 2 times as far in the same amount of time. Like it's a no-brainer, especially around here. They're a blast. But then there's another park down there they just opened, which is a downhill park where you ride to the top in a shuttle truck, put your bike on a trailer, ride down. So that's kind of the mecca for the East Coast and like Southeast everywhere. That's like the mecca, but we've kind of built a little bit of something like that here.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that because like driving past it itself, because it's Horns Hill, right? Yeah. Driving past it, you start to see, and that's the thing too. Like you talked, like you never met anybody, like until you met Caleb or whatever. But you look at it and you're like, I don't know anybody that does it. But when you look at Horns Hill, there's freaking 40 people sitting down at the bottom of the hill, and you're like, I didn't even know that many people did it. Like, it's a more popular thing than I think people realize.
And it's getting more popular.
Yeah.
Especially in like Central Ohio, where we've always had, like, there's some spots in Columbus. Dillon State Park's like always had trails. But like Horns Hill, one of the guys that we ride with, his name's Bob. He was part of the crew that like kind of started getting Horns Hill. Like they got the approval from the city. This was like 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
And then it kind of died for a long time. So what happened was like me, Caleb, Blake, my buddy Roger, we like saw online that like Horns Hill used to have trails, because we were like really getting into it. And, like,
and it's a local place to go ride.
Where can we go ride? Like we don't really love riding at Dillon, because like it's not the type of riding that we were looking for. So then we went there, found that there were like 4 trails that were all overgrown, blown out, like drainage problems everywhere. And then like the old like wooden structures that were still there, but like
not safe to ride on.
Rotten and like all just covered in moss. Like if you touched it with a tire, you were going
slipping
down right away.
Yeah.
And then we just started like working on them, just because we liked riding them, and we were like, all right, let's go up and we'll take our crew of like, literally it started with crews of like five dudes. We'd go up there for a weekend of like 5 people. We would shuttle using like my truck or Caleb's truck, and we'd just like go work for a couple hours, clean up the trails a little bit, and then take turns driving each other. So Horns Hill is like a loop that there's a road up and then there's a road down. So we would just, everyone get in at the bottom, ride up. The driver would do 2 laps. Then if you had 5 people, you got a bunch of laps in before you had to drive again.
Yeah.
So we would just do that. And then all of a sudden we were like, I think we could probably like make this like something. And like Roger really spearheaded it. And then like Blake and I took the kind of like the marketing approach and made videos of it, and like started a Facebook group. The Facebook group's almost at like 5,000 members now.
Yeah.
And we've had people from all over the country and like Canada and all, like literally people from everywhere will just come to Ohio, like Newark, Ohio.
Of all places, like if you're from the area, you understand exactly what we're saying, like Newark, and you're like, okay, what's there?
For mountain biking. And we're like, what is happening? Like we'll have races there where there's 250, 300 people plus spectators, and we're like, what is going on here? Like we have people driving 8 hours from North Carolina, the Mecca on this side of the US. They're driving from there to ride at this park that we built. We're like, what is happening?
And just literally doing it, originally starting it just so you guys had somewhere to ride.
Exactly. It started with just us being like, we want to ride here, and like we're going to build what we want because this is what we like. And then it just, people started coming. We made videos. People loved it. I don't even know how much money we've put into that place. Over $200,000 now.
You guys have skid steers and stuff now too up there, don't you?
So Roger owns a general contracting company, a roofing business. He has kind of been the guy in like heading all of this. So he'll let the trail company like rent his skid steers and excavators, and then the trail company now has some of their own too, which is actually a cool story. The guy that originally helped build the first 4 trails now owns a trail company and came back 15 years later and now is building the trails at Horns.
Huh.
His name's Dave Huff.
That name sounds so familiar.
He's got a trail company now. He builds mountain bike trails all over, and he started 15 years ago at Horns, and then he came back a couple years ago, and now he's like the main trail company that we hire to build stuff.
I feel like getting equipment through some of those trails sometimes can be a little challenging.
Oh, yeah.
How many, I gotta ask, how many have been flipped or, it happens. I mean, anybody who runs equipment pretty often, even like, I've seen some of the like amazing operators flip them. Like, and it's like, it happens when you get in a spot where you're like, oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm going over.
I flopped one.
I believe. How was that? How was that ride?
It hurt. So luckily I was just like I got it down into the trail. So the front side is really steep, and they've done a majority of the building like in the back part of Horns.
Okay.
So like when you're on the road, if you're from Newark, all those trails right along the road, those are considered our downhill trails. The most of those are faster, like more steep, straight down right there. But then there's a whole nother like 40, 50 acres in the back that's not as steep, that we've built trails that are like more flowy, like easy trails.
More of the beginner, like, starting out trails versus, which do you have some people that maybe are turned away because like that's the stuff that they see the more hardcore stuff,
and they see like our videos and people talking about it, because like Horns is the hardest place in Ohio to ride. Like there's no doubt about that. Just like the steepness, the dirt is mostly like gravel, like loose gravel. So it's hard to ride. It's hard to ride fast. And in the back, we made trails that are easy that people can just go and cruise. We also built like the biggest jump line in Ohio back there. But like there is easy stuff there for people to ride, and we're actually getting ready to finish up a revamp on one of the front trails to make it more beginner friendly. So we have a beginner one on the front.
Okay. Do you guys have these, are these marked, or is it okay? Because I feel like as somebody like me who doesn't do it but like would love to do it, like I wouldn't know exactly where to start.
Yeah, we got big trail like maps made, so like right at the top of the hill. Actually, there's one at the bottom by the parking lot.
Okay.
There's a trail map there that has all the trails listed by colors, and it traces them out through the park. And then at the start of every trail, we had a guy that used to, well, he hasn't been there in a while, but he rode there, and he made these like arrowhead signs out of wood with the like trail name, painted them with the like color and everything. It was like people in the community would give back to like Horns, just because it's like that's like the biggest thing that everyone says about Horns, and what we always say is it's like the community of people there is different than anywhere else that we've ever been. I would say it's like everyone is just so cool. Everyone helps everyone. Like there's always been like a stigma of like cross country mountain bikers are just dickheads.
Yeah,
like, they're just assholes. And like there are really cool, like nice dudes, but then there's some that are just mean. And, like, they don't care. They don't want to help you. They're just going to blow right by you. And there are some of those here too. Like
that exists. Like you're always going to have them, and no matter what it is, and no matter anything. So you're going to have it. It's just how do you deal with them?
But then we've tried to build, kind of not on purpose, but now it's like become the thing that we just build a community of people that are just like super stoked, just like always having a really good time. Everyone's friendly. Like when we have our race weekends, we camp up on top. So the city gave us permission to, like, during events and stuff, we can let people camp. And it's just dry camping. Like there's usually porta potties. We're building a shower house, like bath house now. But people just camp up there, and like we have a fire pit. Like we usually, all of my friends, we just have a fire pit by my car and hang out. And if people walk by, like we invite them over.
Yeah.
Anyone can come join us. Like it's not like, hey, this is my group, you got to stay away. It's like, hey man, like we're all up here. Come
we might as well have fun while we're up here.
And I've made so many friends that I like would never have ever thought I would make through just that. Just like hanging out up there and like, oh, he's cool. Like, let's start hanging out with him. Like some of my best friends that I'm like, I never would have met them if it wasn't specifically for like Horns, which is pretty cool.
Do you guys have night rides there?
Yeah.
So is there a place? I don't know. My buddy does night rides sometimes, and he's like, and I'm like, do you even know anybody there? He's like, no.
At Horns?
I don't know where it's at, but I know he's done.
There's also Forey Preserve, Star Hill. It's next to Heath.
Yeah, I think maybe that's where. But he goes and doesn't. But he kind of says the same thing. Like everybody's cool. Yeah. Like it's just like everybody's there to do the same thing. He's like, because I'm like, you don't know anybody there, and he's like, no. I was like, why do you go? He's like, it's fun and everybody's cool. Yeah. He's like, it's a blast.
Well, he should start coming to shuttle days, because then he'll make friends fast.
He kept trying all summer for me to get a mountain bike and get into it, and I'm like, dude, I got so many other things. Like I need to get this and this done before I can go buy a mountain bike.
Well, I mean, do you have time to work out?
I just started again.
I mean,
but I work out before.
Mountain biking is a pretty good workout.
My boss, he does it not very often, but I told him, I was like, this summer I'd like to, like, maybe not like crazy often, but I was like, I want to get into it and do it a little bit because
Sure.
like it's a great workout and like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, because me and him are similar, like the adrenaline type, like you are, like we like the adrenaline type stuff. It gets you going, but I got lucky right now with how I'm working out because I don't have to pay for a gym membership. My boss has a weight rack. We put it at the shop.
Nice.
So we go in an hour and a half, 2 hours early before work. Me and him will work out, and then we just change and get ready for work.
That's nice.
So that I'm very lucky with that. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have started working out again.
Yeah.
My college roommate just came last weekend and recorded a podcast with me, and he was giving me crap because he like grabbed me on the shoulders. And I was like, he's like, are you really sore? And I was like, I haven't worked out, Teddy, in 9 months. 9 months. And he's like, what? And I was like, dude, after college, I kind of just, I did it for a while and then was like, because I wasn't playing football anymore. Like, that was what I was working out all the time. And it was like, I don't really care anymore. But I mean, mountain biking's been something that which I wanted to ask, say the most basic beginner like me, what advice, like what type of bike, what advice would you give to them?
I would say for bike, the bike is always the best one to start with is usually it's a hardtail. So it's a bike with a front suspension fork, but no rear suspension. For someone like me, if I were to ride one of those, I'd be sketchy.
Why does that matter?
It teaches you how to ride properly.
Okay.
So like what I have, like my bikes are like a big travel, like regular bike, and then a pretty big travel e-bike, which they have front and rear suspension. So that takes that rear suspension helps a lot when you're when you make a mistake or do something that you shouldn't be doing really. And it lets you kind of not ride the way you should. Kind of hard to explain, but like a hardtail, you have to ride correctly with proper form. You have to take good lines because if you take a bad line, your feet will come off or something.
Okay.
It'll be really rough because you actually.
So you're going to fall down. You're going to mess up a lot, but it teaches you, instead of creating those bad habits and having your bike almost help correct you, that the bike won't allow you to. It teaches you the right lines. So it teaches you all the things that you need to learn at the beginning.
Yeah. So line choice on especially downhill mountain biking is a massive proponent of it. You have to be good at picking lines or else you're gonna crash all the time. Just all the time. And on a full suspension bike, you can take bad lines. It lets you do that. And that's part of it. But if you've never ridden a crappy bike or something like a hardtail or there's a really cheap full suspension bike, you're never gonna realize what you can and can't do. You'll never learn anything like that. And also a hardtail is it's cheap. There's cheap bikes to start out with, so you can start. You don't have to ride it forever.
It's just it's similar to podcasting, or if you want to get into some type of hobby, you just start with the basics first to see if you even like it. Because why goes you see it all the time where people they go spend a bunch of money on something, and then a year later they're selling it all because they don't do it. They don't like it. But if you start out kind of cheap, and there's a good you still have to spend money, but
there's a range.
Yes.
So you can get a pretty decent hardtail, and for some people, $1,000 for a bike sounds ridiculous.
My buddy bought one for $1,000, and I thought he was crazy.
But
then we went trail riding, and I was like, "Holy crap, your bike's so much better than mine." I get it.
It's it's one of those things where spending money to a point, it does make it better.
Yes.
And $1,000 hardtail will have a good fork, and most importantly, good tires and good brakes. Those are the things you need to have to be good to actually kind of excel on something like a hardtail. And then once you ride that for 2 or 3 months, 4 months, and if you get hit hard with the bug, I'm into this.
Then you can start working.
Then you can then you can sell it and upgrade to a cheaper full suspension bike, something that you can go ride more and ride faster and do stuff like that. But that would be my advice: is do that. Get a good pair of pedals and shoes. That's one thing that most beginners don't understand is they'll go out with their tennis shoes or something.
So there's a specific type of shoe that you would want.
Yeah. So in mountain biking, without getting in like too much detail, there's like you can clip in or you can ride flats.
Okay.
So flats are like what everyone knows of pedals should be. It's just like flat piece of metal or plastic that you set your foot on top of.
Yeah.
They make mountain bike specific pedals that are like have bigger spikes for more grip. And then they make shoes with a specific like flat sole with a stiffer sole and stickier rubber.
Yeah.
So that your feet stay on. Like when people they'll go out and like Nike reruns, like the foam shoes, and their feet will be like gripping like bird feet almost over the pedals, and just not comfortable.
That
like,
was me.
it doesn't support your foot
when you're going up a hill and your feet are slipping off the pedals. It sucks.
Yeah. So like that's a big thing that like most people don't think about. They're like, oh, like there are specific shoes for this that help make it feel better when you're riding, and like that's another thing, big thing, that other than like a helmet and stuff.
But yeah, I mean, I think that should be a given. I didn't wear one. I should have. I didn't wreck, but I also didn't like push my. I knew I was like, one, I'm not on a great bike, and two, I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try and do anything crazy. And when I watched somebody who looks like they've been riding a lot go down this hill and wreck, and I was like, I don't really want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But what was your worst wreck?
Knock on wood, I haven't had like any really bad wrecks. So, I mean, I've had a lot of crashes.
It's inevitable. Like it's gonna happen.
I've had some at Snowshoe, West Virginia, that have been bad, but luckily, like somehow I didn't get hurt.
You get up and go, oh, that could have been way worse than it was.
So we had an enduro race, which is like you have to pedal to each. It's a stage race, but they only time the downhill stages, but you have to pedal to each one. And it's like a rainforest up there in the summer. So it was raining. The trails are all roots, like all rocks, so it's slippery. I was going down this trail and like hit a drop, hit a corner, and then like hit a big compression. My bars broke in half.
Ooh.
So it was like hit it, and then all of a sudden I was freaking, I don't even know what happened, just out the front door, bars broke. I went rolling down the hill, and like I got up and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay, but like I shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
It was bad.
That's I don't want to have that scare again.
No, that was probably my worst one, but I didn't get hurt. So I haven't had many injuries. Blake, my brother, has knocked himself out cold, separated his shoulder. Caleb actually this past summer broke his femur at Snowshoe with us. That was a gnarly sight, seeing a dude rolling around because he knocked himself out too, so he didn't know what was happening. So when he was rolling around, it's like we didn't know what was wrong, but like his leg was moving weird, so we were like, something's wrong.
Yep, this isn't good.
And then he rolled over like a final time, and his leg pivoted in the middle of his thigh, and we're like, all right, you need to. Yep, you're done.
Yep. Like we need to go get this looked at like right now.
This is bad. So other than like those have been like the worst, but thankfully I haven't had any bad ones. I crashed pretty hard yesterday, but didn't get too hurt.
See, that's the other thing I look at, because I'm like, my boss also talked about getting into jiu-jitsu, and I was like, I'm gonna get hurt. Like, I can't afford to get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an hourly employee, so like, if I'm not working, I'm not getting paid, and I can't afford that. So it's one of those things. Like, but I feel like you almost have to, if you're, I could be wrong about this, but if you're gonna get into it, and do it, like, you can't just do it once here, like once a year type of thing necessarily. Is that like a true or false statement?
I mean, you could. Yeah, I wouldn't see the like.
But I feel like that increases your risk for.
Oh yeah, you'll be sketchy for sure. Like the people, we've actually talked about this a lot, and I feel like it's the same for a lot of different sports or like activities, as in like what Kyle does.
Mm-hmm.
The beginners are usually pretty safe because they're beginners. Like you said, when you went out first, you didn't have a helmet, and you were like, I'm not pushing this because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So beginners, relatively, pretty safe. People that have been doing it for a long time, like us or Kyle with driving or something,
you're gonna want to take that. You're gonna want to hit that jump. You're gonna want to do.
No. We're fat. Like we can do it faster. We can do bigger stuff, but we're calculated in what we do because we've been doing it for so long. So like if we look at something,
It's the experience factor.
we're experienced. We're like, I know I can hit this jump. I know how fast I need to go to hit this jump without seeing anyone doing it. Most of the time, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but like we just know.
Mm-hmm.
And like the sketchy ones are the people the amateurs, the ones that don't do it all the time. They're not super serious, but they've been doing it long enough that they're not a beginner anymore. Those are the people in mountain biking that you see get just destroyed on the regular, just tear themselves up, break things. It's because they're in that progression period where they're trying to push it, they're trying to go farther, they're trying to go faster, and they just don't have the skill,
Mm-hmm.
and they haven't built it up fast enough. Those are the dudes that just get wrecked.
That makes sense. It's, you find it in a lot of, like you mentioned Kyle, like that. You know, for those who don't know Kyle, we're talking about Kyle Chaney, who races side by sides and all this other kind of stuff as well. But if you, the experience factor definitely plays into it, because if you're not experienced as a beginner, I get it. You're going to be more timid, I guess, which can also get you in trouble. I feel like
it can, yeah.
Especially if you don't know the difference between your front and your back brakes.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, when you're going down, how do you work your brakes?
So most of the time, what you're doing is you're just like you're feathering your brakes, I would say.
Okay.
So you're never like full on grabbing both of them.
Yeah, that's similar to, I know a little bit more about like the dirt bike racing, that type of stuff. Like they always, a lot of them, actually, like the pro racers, though, a lot of them I think have the 2 fingers on. That's it. They don't actually like have their hand covering it, because then you can't pull it all the way in necessarily, so you're not smashing your brake and going over your handlebars.
So for mountain bikes, we use 1 finger.
Really?
1 finger braking, and like your front brakes do like 70%, 80% of your braking. So like that's the one. A lot of people go wrong with grabbing too much front brake. They'll go over, or they'll slide their
That's
front
how you do
wheel.
front flips.
Yeah, but like that's the one you have to get good at using, because that's what's going to slow you down. The back brake will help slow you down, but I honestly use the back brake more for like turning and doing stuff like that. Like you can lock it up, slide around a corner, slide into a corner, do stuff like that. But like that's also a big thing for beginners to learn, is how like to control their braking.
Yeah.
And braking points, once you get into like racing, braking points are a huge, just as in side by side racing, like braking points are one of like the big things that actually help you go faster. The better you are at slowing down, the faster you are overall.
Exactly. Cool. How long is like a typical race, like mileage wise and like time wise?
So we race both downhill and enduro. So a downhill is literally, you're at the top, you're in the gate, they say go. It's like a 2 to 5 minute trail, all downhill, 1 run. So if you crash, too bad. Like
you're done.
You lose. And then an enduro race is like the stage race. So you have like 5 or 6 stages. It's usually in Ohio. They're typically 10, 13 miles. But then they have ones out of state that are different places that are like 20 something miles with, it's like an all day thing where like middle of the day, you got to stop and get like grab food and water and like.
So. How many miles do you think you ride? And we'll say this summer, like probably, or whenever you're more active actually riding, how many miles do you think you ride like a week?
At least like on the bare minimum, probably 20.
Yeah.
On the bare minimum. But then like we did a trip this past summer up to Killington up in Vermont. We did 150 miles in 3 days.
Damn.
But we were just like, it's kind of, we do it all the time, and we're always like, man, we go way too hard. We just, we'll go for a few days and just ride all day long.
But I feel like that's the way to do it. Like, look at how when people go on golf trips, like what do? Golf. They play golf all day, every day. Like they'll play multiple rounds a day. And I mean, that's the way to do it. If you're going to go on a trip and like, that's what you're going to do, might as well spend your time. Good Lord. The crappy part is that picks up on the mics like that when it's real loud, that picks up on the mics, but oh well. But yeah, like, I mean, if you're going to go do it, spend the time to actually do it, but 150 miles?
Yeah. It was almost all downhill. It was all downhill too.
Damn.
Because we went to ski resorts, so it was basically all downhill miles.
That's a lot.
but it's
Oh, I bet. So I wanted to get into also, with Chaney. How did you originally even meet Chaney?
mountain biking.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
So one of our buddies he was like, he actually is still, he won the mountain bike Ohio tournament or whatever. He was like, when we started, he was like the fastest dude. And we were like, we were like, got to be his friend and started riding with him. And he was just always really fast. And us not being fast, like that's the fastest way to get fast, is to follow people that are way faster than you.
Mhm.
For a long time, you're never going to keep up, but
Yeah.
eventually you'll start to keep up. We met him probably at Horns, and then we went to snowshoe with him, and Kyle went. So Cam, our buddy, knows Kyle from high school.
Okay.
I think they rode dirt bikes together.
Yeah, because
Pretty sure.
I think Kyle used to race dirt bikes.
Yeah, so
but then he got hurt too many times.
Yeah. So they rode dirt bikes, and they knew each other there. So then we met Kyle there, and then we met him a couple times at Horns. We went to Wind Rock, which is a super gnarly downhill spot with him. And then that's kind of just how we met him. We started hanging out while we were mountain biking, and then Blake started bugging him over and over, like, when are you gonna take us to Hammers? Let's go to Hammers. Let's go to Hammers. When are you taking us? And then last year he finally reached out to Blake and said, hey, you guys, you want to go to Hammers and do YouTube stuff for us? Blake was like, yeah. So then I went out, and at the time Kyle was only paid Blake really for that, and I just went just to help, because I was like, this is going to be...
It's King of Hammers, which
sick.
King of Hammers is the biggest side-by-side race.
Yeah.
Like there is. Like,
oh, yeah.
And there's money on, like a lot of money on the line, and it is an incredibly difficult track that if you watch some of the videos, and like, especially what Kyle, like 3 years ago when he won it and had a broken foot or whatever he did, where the side-by-side rolled over his leg.
Yeah.
Like, people, some of the rocks and things that they go through is insane.
Yeah, it's being out there. We were out there for so actually we're leaving this upcoming Wednesday, go back out. But last year we were out on the lake bed. It goes from I'm sure Kyle talked about it, but it's a dry lake bed that turns into basically a city of 100,000 people there. We were out there for 2 weeks on the lake bed, just living out of a camper. We were dirty,
dusty.
It's cold.
Really?
It's freezing. It gets into the 50s during the day, but then it's mostly in the 30s. But it's windy and it's dry and it's just freaking cold. So we were out there the whole time, and we did all of the filming and photos and stuff for Kyle. Did a whole YouTube series. I think there was 15, 10. There's a lot of videos from it, and then we did all the social media stuff and did all that while we were out there. After that point, from the people we met out there and from Kyle's help, he hooked us up with Can-Am and Yokohama. And then all this summer we've just done video and photo work for Kyle, Can-Am, Yokohama.
That's sweet.
We've got to meet some pretty cool people.
Yeah. And driving around in Deegan's car, people thinking you guys are Deegan.
Yeah. So Kyle does all of the races. There's multiple classes. So there's a desert race, there's the side-by-side race, and then there's 4,400 race. So after Kyle built a car for Brian Deegan, and then after the side-by-side race, Brian was all right, I'm done, and he left. And the deal was Kyle got to keep the car. Then I had to get around to get different spots and
almost get ahead of Kyle.
This
so that
racetrack's huge.
How many miles is it? I forget. He talked about it.
It's I think the desert loop is 90, and then there's 30, maybe 20 or 30, something like that in the rocks.
Yeah.
So it's a big race.
Yeah.
So I needed to get ahead of him, because I knew we had the map, and I would get out ahead of him to get him coming through to get photos and video. We didn't have a car, so I was like, hey, can we take Deegan's car? It's a fully built race car, side by side. He's like, I don't care. But just, Kyle, he's one of the chillest, cool dudes. He was just like, yeah, sure.
He is one of the most chill people to go talk to.
You would never guess that he's the number one Can-Am driver. You would never.
Yeah.
You'd never know.
Well, like, that's the thing. I don't even think, like, the people from our town, when they see him, they don't realize, like,
No one
that
does.
dude is, like, when it comes to side bus, like, he's hanging out with Pastrana. He's
He is
racing Pastrana. Like, I
the
remember
best.
looking through, it was right before Kyle was supposed to come on the podcast, and I was just scrolling through Instagram stories one night, and I was like, I follow Pastrana, and saw it, and it said something about Kyle Chaney pushing him or like doing this, and
Mhm.
I'm like, wait, like I had to go back and like clicked on the name. I was like, oh, that's like legit Kyle Chaney. Like
Yeah.
when you have Pastrana, like a guy that doesn't matter who you are, you know who Pastrana is.
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal.
Also one of the coolest, nicest dudes.
Yeah, what was that like?
When I met Travis, he was very busy. So he was at an NRX, which is Nitro Rallycross. We were there shooting for Yokohama, but he is like everyone would think. The same goes for all these famous people. So like I've had the privilege of meeting these like ultra famous like athletes, adrenaline junkies, like these famous dudes like Pastrana and Deegan and Tanner Faust, like all these people. And you think like, oh, these guys are so crazy famous. Like, oh my gosh, they're just dudes.
Yeah.
Like they're literally just
Yeah.
dudes that like driving cars and having fun.
Yep.
Like there is nothing different about
They're just
these
really
guys.
good at what they do.
Yeah. And they're just big kids. Like,
Yeah.
Travis was the coolest dude. Like actually talked to like me and Blake and like had a conversation, even though he was crazy busy. But like he was talking to the Yokohama lady, like he introduced himself, like just a super chill, cool dude.
Can you imagine that though, being that famous though? Like you introducing yourself, like, dude, I've known who you are for like,
Yeah, it's
like everybody knows who you are.
he's uber famous, especially in like places like that. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
And I mean everywhere, everyone knows.
And
who
everybody
Travis
knows
Pastrana is.
Deegan's car going through the
Yeah,
desert.
and then like me driving Deegan's car with the helmet on, people pointing and waving, and like that dude when he's at the pits does not go outside.
Because he can't.
We had people sitting outside Kyle's pits just like lurking to like talk to him.
Mhm.
And we're like seeing that, I'm like, man, this would kind of suck.
Yeah, like once which I feel like it's like a double-edged sword. Like if you're home, like I said, how like nobody understands like he's a big deal, but
Yeah.
like I feel like sometimes it's like even as him, he's probably like, why did no one understand? Like
Yeah.
you kind of like when you're at a race, everybody's lurking outside, wants to talk to you, wants to get a picture with you, whatever.
Mhm.
But like you'd be at home and no one knows,
Yeah.
understands it.
Yeah, it's Deegan's. He was a really cool dude too, but like he was, especially there, he was like when he was going out, it was in his car because it was just like he had to go get stuff done or else he'd get stuck.
Yeah,
because he's a famous racer, but also he's like mega famous on YouTube.
Yeah,
so like everyone knows him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's insane to be able to go out there and have that opportunity. And like you said, like you weren't getting paid, you were just there doing it. And like but also like that's sometimes how you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because look at the opportunities that it can lead to.
Mhm.
Yeah, sometimes you might have to do things for free. Like you might have to do it, but it could lead to other things in the future. It sucks, but you have to grind it out a little bit at the beginning, and it can turn into something big. And really, so like, did the video side of things for you kind of all start? Was it from working for your parents or like making the videos at Horns Hill? Like, where did you kind of grow the interest in like making videos?
So I would say it was from like mountain biking and stuff. Like, well, actually, I started making videos and it was just kind of like travel-ish style videos, like us going on trips and like a little bit of mountain biking. I just like had an interest in making some videos, and then honestly, what happened was like then Blake got into it, and Blake got like really, really into it. He's like one of the types of people that like hyper fixates on stuff.
When I start something, like they research it.
Yes,
dude. I work with a guy.
Cannot buy a camera without knowing like every detail about every camera.
That's my boss. Like we got a dartboard at the dart shop at our shop now, and he literally the next day we came in was like, so I was looking up these darts and like the easiest way to do this, and I'm like, what did you do last night? He's like, I went down a rabbit hole. Like he does it. Like that's how like some people are just that way. Like when they find an interest in something, they're gonna know everything about it.
Yeah. So that's what Blake did. He went deep into it and like got really good at it, and like we just started making videos and making YouTube videos. So I started making YouTube videos, and then he started making his own. We combined ours into one channel and started making mountain bike videos and doing stuff like that. And that's literally how all that happened. Like we didn't go to school for it. We didn't do anything other than like a YouTube education and just doing it.
Yeah.
So like
that's the thing, is everything's at our fingertips now.
Yeah.
Like going off of like what we talked, like learning everything about it. Like if you want to know about something, you want to know how to do something. I mean, I still to this day, and I'm sure you probably still do it too, where you look something up. How do I do this?
Oh, every
like
day.
With the podcast, I do it all the time. How do I add this in, or how do I upload this into this? And like just little things, the simplest things. And it's all at our fingertips. So like, I don't like when people are like, oh, man, I don't know how to do it. And it's like, it's out there.
Figure it out.
Everything's out there.
Yeah.
Like you want to become a pickleball person, look it up. You'll learn how to play.
Yeah,
You'll learn the best paddles or whatever. Like
figure it out.
Like it's all available at our fingertips anymore. But literally, like all you got to do is pull out your phone and you have it, or get on your laptop. It's so easy.
Yeah, and that's that's a big part of it, is just we learned how to do it by doing it. But then it's all about who you know.
Yep.
Like that's
connections are huge.
The more like we're doing stuff and like going different directions with other things, it's like it's all 100% who you know. Like you can be the best at something, but because you know this one person, you're gonna get the job.
Do you ever like talk to other creators as well and learn from them? Like you talked about it in mountain biking, but like do you do it with videos and stuff as well?
Yeah, so we've obviously got a lot of our like opportunities through that stuff this past year from Kyle. Like Kyle knows all of the heads of all of these different big companies like Can-Am and Yokohama. And once
the dog has made his appearance.
He's down here.
Yeah.
So then once like Kyle introduced us to those people, then we started actually we didn't know them, but we like went and did stuff for them.
Connections are huge in everything. Like sometimes you get, as a creator, you're afraid to like message somebody who does the same thing as you, because you don't want to come off as like, I'm trying to be better than you. Like, no, you're trying to learn from them. Like, I'll message podcasters about like, hey, how'd you make that video? Or, hey, how'd you make this like clip? Like, what app did you use, or whatever? And like, it's a really cool thing to do. And like, a lot of times, like, you might not get a response, or they might not give you the answer that you want, but a lot of times they're willing to help you. They're willing to talk with you, because they want more people in the space, like especially content creation, whether it's podcasting or making videos, YouTube, and that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of people that think they can do it. Like I still think I call myself a wannabe podcaster, but like they want people to excel in the space, because then it also makes them better. Like it makes them look better. So it's a double-edged, I don't want to call it a double-edged sword, but like connections in general, they're huge in everything, no matter what you do.
Most people want to help.
Yeah.
Like you'll have people every once in a while that are dicks and won't help you. But for the most part, people want to help. Like we had the opportunity to do a shoot for Can-Am. We did like their social like content reels and stuff for one of their 2023 like model drops. So we were out in Utah filming like new side by side that they were releasing. So NDAs, all that like stuff. Like we had to go out there and do that. And when we got there, it was actually before we left, we had a brief, and one of the photographers on site was Aaron Brimhall, and he's like the OG like motorsports photographer, like just insanely good. Works with all the big like Lamborghini, Porsche, like Harley Davidson,
big deal.
all of them. He is like the guy. And he was there, and we got to hang out with him for like 4 days and just pick his brain. And he was just like everyone else, super cool. Just like would answer questions and tell us stuff, and like,
well, to them it's cool. Like I'm sure you've had people ask you questions. It's really cool to be able to share what you know.
Yeah.
Like I've reached out to a couple, kids I went to high school with. They started a podcast, and I reached out to them and was like, hey, I listened to your few episodes. I really like it. And I was like, here's the things I like. And I was like, I'm not trying to sound like a dick or anything, but like, here's the things I wish I'd have known, like at the beginning. And like, you don't have to go buy all the fancy stuff to start, or like just little things, little pointers.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wish somebody would have told me that, or I wish I'd have asked more. Like there's a lot of times I wish I would have, you're in a room with somebody, or like I had an entrepreneurship class where in college where like our professor, like what we did we had that class 2 days a week, and both days he'd just bring in a guest speaker. And these were people that have New York Selling Times best books, that have started multi-million-dollar companies, all kind. Like one guy was like, he got one of the guys that started Uber, and like legit big time people.
dudes.
And it's like, I wish I'd asked more questions, but like, you're sitting, like, I listen to everything, but like, it's a class. You don't want to be that guy that like makes class go long because you asked like 3 more questions. But like, I wish I would have, because I'm sure there's a lot of things that they could have said that maybe it didn't resonate to me, or, you know, give me everything I wanted, but maybe my person sitting beside me could have grew a lot from it.
Yeah. That would have been cool. That'd been cool to listen to all those.
That class was by far one of my classes from college that I like absolutely loved. And it was like, it was a big reason I started the podcast again, to be honest, like, and it helped grow the podcast. And he's still one of those people, that professor, like, I have his number. After college, after I took his class and everything and I graduated, he hit me up and was like, hey, you know, because we created our own company, and like we did a business pitch, and it was actually for money. Now they do it for a lot more money than when we first started. But he was like, you have the knowledge and like kind of the skill set that I like want in this class. And he's like, you guys won the business pitch, which I have no idea how we did, considering we had 3 people, everybody else had 4. And albeit 2 of my 2 partners, he literally told me, he's like, I know you did the whole project. And I was like, because I asked him when he got on a call and he was telling me about his pitch, like his idea, he was like, I know you did the whole project. That's why I didn't ask the other 2 to come. But he's like, I got some people from the class that I think you would work well with. He was trying to give me, like, help us start a business.
See, that's cool. I went to college for 2 years for business. Didn't learn a damn thing about business in 2 years.
Oh, that was, I will say, probably the only class, other than my marketing classes, I did learn a decent amount through. But that class was probably the only class that I truly remember anything from.
Like, I'm not necessarily hating on college. Like, it's necessary for some things.
I wish I didn't go.
I do too.
I go back and forth on that, because it's like, I grew up a lot through college and like I needed it, but college is not the debt, because I am in debt. I went to a D3 private school, so like I am in debt.
Yeah.
But I went because I wanted to play football. And honestly, like, if I wouldn't have been playing football, I would not have gone to college.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't think, like, when I said I was going to college, a lot of people I don't think thought I would even last, because they're like, I mean, I was not known as a partier per se, but like, you know,
to have fun.
I like to have fun. Yeah, we'll call it that. and so they didn't think I'd last, but I ended up, you know, staying all 4 years. And there was many times that I wanted to be done, but that was also the other thing I thought in my head. I'm like, I'm 2 years into this. I'm already in debt. I'll get out of this without a degree, or I can just do my rest of my time and get my degree and still be in debt, but at least I have something to show for it.
Yeah.
But like, no, there's so many other ways. I mean, look at you. You never went. I mean, yeah, you went for 2 years, but like, you didn't go through the whole college thing, and it works out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trades out there. I mean, I have a college degree and work a blue collar job.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use my degree now. There's opportunities for that here later on in the future, but I didn't use my degree, and sometimes it's like a waste of money, but also it's not. So there's a fine. College is not for everybody, though. No, not at all.
Especially now, it's like even more so not for everybody. No. Like, if you're going to be a nurse or a doctor, like,
I get that.
You need to go. But like, if your dream is to like start your own business and stuff,
you don't need college.
There are literally, like, when I stopped going to college, my dad is like big into courses. So he'd have 50 courses. Like, he spent a lot of money on courses, but like, that's how he learns, is he goes and buys these courses from people in the industry that are doing really, really good. And then, so when I quit college, I went home and spent all day, every day watching courses on how all this like marketing and all of these different things. Like,
what's nice is you can do it at your own pace too.
Yeah. And you don't have targeted. Yeah. It's like, this is what I'm going to be doing.
Because business classes in college are like, I feel like a lot of it's a lot of corporation stuff.
Very broad.
And it's like, not everybody's going to go into that type of world. Like, some people are going to go work for a small business. Some people are going to go start their own business. Some people are going to go work for a corporation. But like, it's so broad that they try to cover everything in such a short amount of time. that you don't get to really cover anything.
Yeah, so I learned way more and did better just because of that.
Like I'd rather had a taxes class in college.
No kidding.
Or they need that in high school, really.
Yeah, like how to do taxes, like all these different ways, like life skills.
What's up, everybody? I hope you're enjoying today's guest. A lot of people ask me how they can support the Roughnecks podcast. So I wanted to take a quick break to tell you the best way to support the podcast is to buy and wear merch. We have merch available on our website, from hats, t-shirts, long sleeves, sweatshirts, and even coffee cups. There are even youth sizes available for the kids. Head over to roughneckspodcast.com and make your purchase today. Thank you for all the support, but let's get back to today's guest. Well, like, I didn't realize, like, you know, my boss was talking, he's like, he spends a lot of money at the end of the year. And I remember asking him, I was like, why we don't need this? And he's like, I have to spend money. I get 40% taxed on my, like, what I have left. And I'm like, what? And it's like, you don't even realize those types of things. He's like, oh, I didn't know at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because no one teaches you that.
No one tells you anything about that.
No.
And we figured that out with having Blake and I this first year having our business. They don't tell you how to do anything.
Nope.
Nothing. And
they want you to mess up.
Even if you look it up, like, it's still hard to figure out like how to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what can I write off? What can I write off?
Yeah, we just like talked to a CPA this year, and she was like, "Do you have this, this, and this?" I was like,
"What is that, that, and that?"
I didn't even know we were supposed to do that. Like, as a business, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's on me, but I feel like no one told me.
That's on the world,
and
honestly. Like you don't get taught.
They're like, oh, well, like, from the beginning, I was like, all right, I know how to file an LLC. Like, you do that. I got our, like, EIN number and all that stuff, and I was like, all right, so, like, we're good.
We're good, yeah.
But they don't tell nothing about, like, future steps on taxes and all these other things. I'm like, this would have been great. Instead of taking a freaking theater or movie class in college, I would have much rather taken a class on taxes.
Yep.
And, like, business taxes and how to do write-offs and all of the things that go into it. Like, yeah, it would suck to learn about it. And, like, at the time, I
we would hate it.
I would have been like, this is the dumbest class. Like,
but 5, 10, 20 years down the line.
Is there a taxes class that I can take? Like, I need to learn this.
Yeah. I mean, Sierra's going through it, like, because she's, you know, making more money than she was. And so, like, come tax time, like last year, she was like, I owe this much. And it was like, you're like, and that's the hard part. Like, the more money you make, the more sometimes you got to pay in taxes, which sucks. But it is, I mean, it's the United States. It's just how it works. But like, you don't learn, because, like, you know, the hospital and stuff, you get bonuses. Like, they give out all these bonuses. Yeah.
Free money.
I'm making so much money. No, that's all taxed. Yeah. Like, it's a hard thing that I wish that it would existed more. And I wish, like, more schools had, like, the shop classes, like wood or welding, or, like, that's why, like, CTech, I almost wish I'd have gone to CTech.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you lose out on certain friends at high school or whatever, but you're preparing your future a lot more than, like, because I know people that went to CTech that are diesel mechanics now that are making a crap load of money.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I could have got here eventually, but I'm here 2 years earlier because I went to CTech for 2 years. So there's a lot of things. Our school system anymore, I feel like, is a little broken. And part of that, I feel like, also, like, teachers are underpaid.
Yeah.
But why do we need a calculus class? How many of us are going to use calculus in the rest of our career?
It's hard too, because, like, from my point of view, it's like, I would have loved to do that, but, like, I still don't know what I want to do right now. And in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do.
You don't.
So then, like, if some people do, so like, if I would have went to CTech to do, like, welding or something, like, I like welding, like, I can do very little of it right now, but, like, it's not really what I want to do for a job. But if I would have decided that at 16, then you might be miserable with it. Yeah. So it's like, it sucks,
it's
because
hard.
You make these kids, or just still, like, 20-year-olds, pick what they want to do. It's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I feel like that's why we see a lot of people bounce around a lot anymore.
Yeah,
like
they're
from
trying to
job to
figure
job.
out what
Like
they
they try
want,
to figure out what they want to do. I mean,
which is I go for it.
like I've even asked my boss, like, is this what you like always want to do? And he's like, no. He's like, I never. And he's like, I don't know if it's what I'm going to want to do in 5 years.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what's next, but it's you just have to continue to like keep learning, and you're never going to truly probably figure out what you want to do. But as long as my big thing is, as long as you work a job or do something that you love, is it really work? Like, because
Yeah.
I mean, the job I have, people ask me all the time, like, why do you still work at, like, you have a degree? And I'm like, I don't know if I could sit at a desk. I really don't think I could.
100% cannot. I can't.
When I come down here and edit and I sit at that desk, an hour episode, it could take me an hour and a half to get it all done. It usually takes me like 3 hours because I get like sidetracked and like I'll go upstairs and then I'll sit down and watch TV and Sarah's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I can't sit there and stare at the screen for much longer.
Blake does a majority of the YouTube editing, but for me, it's like when we go mountain biking, we have like our main camera, which is like our mirrorless camera that we use for like vlogging. And then I have a GoPro, Blake has a GoPro, and we were at all day riding.
No,
so then we have.
See, this is why I don't do video.
We have the camera, which is easy because that's just us talking around and like having fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy to go through. Then you have Blake and I's GoPro videos.
So you got to cut up
like hours of footage of us going and doing stuff, and we got to cut that down to like a 15-minute video. That's
the part that sucks too.
That's the stuff Blake can do. Like I can do it every once in a while.
That's why it's nice having two people too. Like I wish I had somebody that would love editing. Like, I mean, I could, but I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
But it's like having somebody else, that likes to do, like, you have people that like to do this and like to do this. And like my boss, he asked me if I wanted to do the pool programming and learn how to do all that. He's like, I'm not good with electronics. You're better with it. None of them, I guarantee, have no interest. Like it fits you. And it's delegating. Being able to delegate certain things is very nice to be able to have that that opportunity to be able to do it.
Yeah.
It's video though. I can't do it. I've talked about it a ton on this podcast. I can't do videos.
Blake's one of those guys, like we're wired completely differently.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think this year I'm taking a step back from video stuff, and I think I'm going to go work like more general contracting and trucks and like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Blake can sit down and freaking edit a video and do that all day long. I don't know if he like necessarily loves it, but like he can do it. I cannot.
My brain can't focus that long.
I can't. Like I cannot sit there all day long and edit a video or do this. I'm like, I must have not gotten the creative juices that my mom's a web designer, so she's super creative. Blake got a lot of that. I did not. I can go and work on a car or work on a house and do that stuff all day long.
Yeah.
Blake working on a car, instantly pissed.
Yep.
Like, just, I hate this. This is the dumbest thing. And it's just, we're built different. Like, I can do that. And I can, like, not freak out and, like, I can figure it out.
It's almost relaxing.
Yeah. He cannot. But then he can do other things that I can't do. So it's like, we do work well together, but now it's like, I wanted to try this because, like, I'm like, I don't know if I'll like it or not.
Yeah, but that's the only way to know. Yeah. You got to actually go do it.
You got to try.
Yeah. Like, people, like, I mean, I say I don't think I could sit at a desk, but, like, I actually have, not, like, job-wise, but, like, with the podcast, I know, and, like, the energy-wise, I would have way too much energy if I sat at a desk.
Yeah.
And, because, like, being outside all day, it's awesome being able to work outside. And, like I said, people ask me all the time, like, why do you still work? Because I love it. Like, I truly do. I wake up on Monday morning and don't go, man, I got to go to work. I'm like, I get to go to work. Like, like, I love the guys I work with. I love what I do. Like, and it's one of the things, too. Like, I put in pools, and, like, I've never get to swim in any of these pools that we install. But, like, seeing the customer's reaction, it's like, that's why I love to do it. Like, I mean, we had a customer, one of the last ones that we put in this year. We got there and she was like, I got to go out for a little bit. And we're like, okay, whatever. Like, we're going to work whether you're here or not. So, so like when she left, all we had was like the grass stripped off. And then she came back and the pool is in the ground. And it's like, holy crap. Yeah, but like her face is just like, and like some of the people, they're like, are you happy? And they're like, we didn't even imagine it. Like,
Yeah.
like you can't even like, yeah, we're gonna get a pool, but it's like when they actually see it, it's like their reaction is it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, it's cool. That type of stuff, like making people feel good for like something that you're doing is
Mhm.
like a really cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it, but it's still manual labor, which sucks sometimes. But
Yeah, but I mean, sitting at a desk is because I mean, you're out, you're working, you're actually getting exercise, like you're actually doing
yeah,
things.
literally getting exercise. I thought I was getting more than I was though until the other day because I was like, that's why
Yeah,
I kind of quit working out. I was like, I'm getting enough of a workout. Like carrying a 45-pound paver isn't like you're carrying those all day. It's a workout in itself. But
yeah,
what I realized the other day was when I was out of breath carrying something, and I was like, I didn't even go that far.
yeah. Why am I out of
Uh-oh,
breath?
this isn't good. So, like, me and my pilot, I looked at my boss and was like, hey, can I start using the gym in the shop? And he's like, you want to start working out? I was like, yeah. He's like, okay, I do too. So, like, now we
There you
work
go.
out together, but it it can disappear real quick. Like, have you ever had where you take time off maybe from riding and then you get back into it and it's like, oh, crap.
Oh yeah, it would happen when we did CrossFit. So it was like right after high school, like I basically ended high school from like hockey, like played hockey since I was 4.
Mhm.
Ended hockey, and I think then I had 1 season of lacrosse left, and then after that, I was like, "Ha, I'm done,"
Yep.
and like stopped doing anything. Like all summer, I didn't do anything, and I was like, I'm athletic, like I got a high metabolism, like I'm
Yep.
good. And then all of a sudden, like I'd go to Hannah's house. Her dad always would have like pizza rolls and Mountain Dew, and I was like, oh, in high school I could have whatever I wanted.
Yep.
And then like at the end of the summer, I was like, whoa, like I'm starting to get kind of fat.
Yep.
Like I'm getting chubby. Like what's going on here?
I used to have abs.
Yeah, I was like, this is bad. Like
Yeah.
so then we started CrossFit and like got hooked because it was like the competition aspect of it is there, which
Mhm.
like
Which as an
is
athlete
me. Like I
is
love
something you miss.
Yes.
Once it's gone, you don't realize how much you miss the comp. Like I don't care if it's my 8-year-old niece
Oh, yeah, I'm
and we're
gonna win.
playing. Yeah, like I'm winning.
I'm
Like
winning.
And it's just the competition factor in sports. Once you lose that, I feel like that's where a lot of athletes kind of lose. Like you see them if once they quit sports or
Kind of lose
something.
a purpose.
Yeah, they don't have anything. A competition in anybody,
Mhm.
you need it. Like you need competition in life.
Yeah, and that like at the time I like didn't do anything. I thought it was awesome, and then I was like, I'm bored. Like I need to do something. CrossFit was like the new thing at that point. So we joined a gym, or I think I joined it first, and then I think I got Hannah, and then now my whole entire family does it,
Really?
and I don't really do it much anymore. But like
Yeah, but you're mountain biking.
4 years straight, it was like we would go every day,
Yeah.
5-6 days a week, and like hit the gym, and it started like it's addicting because it's like you can't do muscle ups, you can't do this, and then you like you get them, and you're like, this is awesome. Started competing in competitions, doing pretty well. And then it got to the point where we started mountain biking so much that I was like, I don't have I don't have time to be good at CrossFit and mountain bike.
That's almost that's too much like wear and tear. Like
Oh, dude, I
you're
was
putting too much.
exhausted.
Yeah, it's too much.
I was so we were doing it so often that like it was I hurt my back, Hannah's hurt. It was like we went too hard, too hard for too long, and I was exhausted.
There does come a point where you overwork yourself. Like it is real. Like I know you see like people like, oh, work as much, like work your ass off and do all that. Like, but there is a line. Like it's real because like I mean, I used to like work out like 2 times a day in high school, like when I was trying to go play college football and do all this stuff. But then you come a point where you're not even gaining anything; you're really losing.
Yeah, it was terrible. Like I was even at the height of like CrossFit, it did not make me a better mountain biker. And like that's not necessarily like what I want to be good at now. Because like even if I went pro mountain biking, like we're sponsored, so we got paid to like ride stuff, but we're not considered pro. And even if we were, pro mountain bikers don't make shit for money.
No,
like it's not even worth it to try and go pro because you don't make anything. The amount of time and effort and like these guys are putting their bodies on the line.
And you can't necessarily just hop on a plane and go
Yeah.
to the next place. Like, I mean, you could, maybe. I don't know how easy it is to travel on a plane with a bike, but like,
It's easy now.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. But like, that's the thing I was telling Sierra, because I watched the pro motocross, and the race got canceled, and she's like, it kind of sucks, like, because she was like looking forward to it, because I just got her into watching it, and I was like, she's like, it kind of sucks there's only one race a week, and I'm like, you got to realize they have to drive.
Yeah, they gotta get those
Like
bikes
they're
there.
in California, and then they got to go to Arizona, and then they got to go to Florida, or like where, like they're traveling the whole
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
Like driving.
And it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, bikes they don't get paid.
Mm-mm.
There's like a few guys that make a bunch. Other than that, they don't
Yeah.
make anything. But
Yeah.
like now I'm getting to the point where I want to go back to CrossFit. Mountain biking's just for fun. But like, man,
See, that's the
I'm
thing
too
too.
competitive.
Would you have thought, like, if you would have been like turned into the pro, like, would it became more of a job than a hobby, like felt more of like a chore per se than like something you
Yeah.
love to do? Because I
Yeah.
see it a lot, and I've seen it in like people that start a YouTube channel for hunting, or
That's
you know-
how their YouTube channel that's kind of how it felt now. The YouTube mountain biking felt
Mhm.
like a job, which made me not like it very much.
yeah, and that it sucks because like something that you fell in love with, which is why you started the YouTube. Like, you don't want it to turn into like. You don't want it to turn into a job.
Yeah.
You want it to be something that you truly enjoy doing, something that you love and have fun doing.
And that's what it turned into. It turned into like, oh, we got to make a video this week.
Yep.
And then it turned into, and I was just like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I experienced it with the podcast.
I want to ride my bike for fun and like have fun. And then it turned into like, we got to make videos, and then like social media, like
you're paying too much attention to how many views something gets, how many likes something gets.
we gotta do this because then I can make a cool video and get a bunch of likes and get some followers. And
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, I'm getting to the point. Like, I know you need social media, but it's
Mhm.
like the whole idea behind the whole thing. I hate the idea
Yeah.
of like, you have to be constantly putting out these dumb, trendy reels.
Yep.
Using the same audio. Like, if you go on your Instagram and scroll through your reels,
Dude,
just
the
count
one that's
how many times
the
you
one
hear
that's
same
stuck on
audio.
mine is that little kid singing, "Lord, thank you for sunshine, thank you for rain," like whatever. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen that one,
yeah.
but I've seen that thing a million times. Just Sierra one day.
Yeah.
I was downstairs, like she was getting ready for work. I didn't have to work for another hour, so I was just sitting there drinking coffee, and I was like scrolling through Instagram Reels. She came down, it's like, "How many times are you gonna watch that video?" I was like, "It's different videos.
Yeah.
It's the same audio for 20 different videos."
Pay attention next time you're scrolling through it, and just pay attention to how many times the same audio plays, and it's the same style of video.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. It's like there's no, and
The creativity is going away.
they promote, and like the people that do that, like Instagram, they're giving these people that do that like the algorithm.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you get all
It's
of
a
these
popular
likes now.
sound, so yeah, it's going to show up on everybody's.
Copy all of these other people,
Mhm.
and then you're gonna get a bunch of likes and followers.
Which I can't. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it. Like, we've all done it, but like it
Yeah.
sucks because like you want to be able to sometimes like create your own,
Mhm.
but it won't perform well.
No.
But
Won't
if you
do
use
good.
if you just use the same video but put this sound on it, because that sound is so popular,
Yep.
it will perform so much better simply because of that sound.
Yep.
The algorithm it's crazy, and whoever made it, that's insane.
Scary.
But like, yeah, it is scary, but like, it's so annoying sometimes.
Oh yeah, I don't like it because I actually like taking photos more than doing video stuff.
Mhm.
If you post a photo, like, they don't do very good at
No.
all. And Instagram used to be a
Well,
photo sharing app.
There was the one sound for a while that said, like, I heard if you put this
Yeah.
picture with this audio, you'll get 1 million likes or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
people were just using that and putting the dumbest pictures,
Mhm.
and I'd look and it'd have like 100,000 likes, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I could have took that picture.
Instagram rewards stuff like that, and you're like, why?
That's where like people that are like Instagram famous, and I'm like, what did you really do? Like,
Yeah.
now your sounds are popular, but you were using everybody else's sounds to become popular.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get it, but like, how creative really are you?
Not.
Yeah.
Not creative. Most of those big accounts and stuff, like, no one's being creative.
No. creativity, people think they're being creative, but they're not.
You're just copying
Yeah.
what other. That's all it is, and that kind of was what made me not like it
Yeah.
anymore. Like I've never really loved social media, but I guess if I really wanted to do social media, I would just do it how I wanted to do it
Mhm.
instead of. And I know that won't make you grow,
No.
but like if the people that like me and follow me for me want to
Mhm.
follow me, then that's all
Unless
I
you're
really
somebody
care
like
about.
Joe Rogan or
Yeah.
like that's already a big time, like you can make whatever. But it's like being the unknown person, I per se, like you're not. It's a lot harder to grow, and like you said, it sucks because like you need social media in business and like with the
Yeah.
podcast, with what you guys do, you need it. But like I'm the same way. Like sometimes like I won't post an episode till like 4 days after it comes out because I'm like I don't I don't even want to do it. Like I don't
Yeah.
even like I get caught in the endless scroll where you're sitting there scrolling, but like I catch myself all the time too. Like why am I spending so much time
Yeah.
looking at it when it's the same thing over and over again?
I know. I have the same thoughts too. I'm like, why am I
We
even
all do
on
it though.
Instagram? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing on here that I like want to see. And
No.
then if the stuff that I do see, like built trucks and stuff, like it just makes me spend more money because I'm like, wow, that looks sick. Like I didn't do that to my car.
You sound like my boss because every time he sees some type of attachment for equipment or whatever, he's like, I saw it like 4 times on Instagram. Now I'm looking him up. Like, I want to get
Yeah,
it.
that's what happens. I'm
It
like,
is. I mean, there's the pros and cons to it, but I feel like anymore it's just becoming more of a con.
yeah. And if, like, especially if I start doing stuff that's not social media related, like, I still have things that I need to be able to do. Like, I'm a rough country ambassador. So, like, the suspension, like,
Mhm.
the truck company,
Yeah.
I get parts from them and build trucks like with their
Yeah.
stuff that I have to take pictures and do stuff with.
Yeah.
So like that's also part of like all the stuff that I've built is like that's what I have to do.
Yeah.
So it's part of it, but it's not necessarily means I have to build my whole Instagram around like
Yeah.
becoming famous for trucks or
Yeah.
becoming famous for mountain bikes. Like I can just post what I want. I just have to provide like professional photos
Yeah.
to them.
But your photos on Instagram, I will say, what is your Instagram?
It's just Chase Cherubini.
You'll be tagged in the stuff, but your pictures are freaking awesome. Like you
Thanks.
roll through it and it's like you remind me. I have a guy, he's came on the podcast multiple times and I went to college with him. He actually works for the NFL and Ohio State. So he's a videographer and goes and shoots all that kind of stuff.
That's it.
Like he's told me, because I asked him the one time and like he's like, it's crazy. Like you'll shoot a touchdown. You immediately take your SD card out, plug it into your phone, send it to those organizations, and like within 3 minutes it's up. And it's like, holy crap,
Wow.
that's insane. And I like because I remember like scrolling through Instagram one day and like seeing a video on ESPN, and then like I scrolled a few more times until he posted it. But then I realized like he was the one that made it, and I was like, wait a second, like. But yeah, he's really cool. He's actually probably next month, hopefully coming back on. I was gonna have him on last month, but he was in Atlanta for the Ohio State game.
That'd be a cool job. It's
He loves it.
It's really cool to like take some like you make something like take a photo or a video and then see it somewhere like that. Like that's sweet. We've made a few reels and stuff for Can-Am that they've posted on their like Instagram and stuff. And then I've had photos like Rough Country's catalog.
That's sweet.
I've had photos of mine in their catalog.
That's sweet.
Which is like this is $1 billion Rough Country. If you don't know, like Rough Country, they're $1 billion company. Like off-road lift kits, like all the $1 billion. And I had my pictures in their catalog. I was like, this is
one of our jobs is going in one of our paver suppliers catalogs this year, and like when we sent a picture to our supplier, he's like, I'm getting professional, like we're getting like actual pictures, like that's going in the catalog next year. And you're just like, but it's really cool. Like I did that. Like
yeah, it's like, so cool to be able to like see that.
And like
here's the catalog, and I'm like,
that. Yeah, it is cool. It's insane. The creative world is there's so many cool people out there, and it like Carter. He started similar to kind of how you guys did it, like where you just kept bugging Kyle.
Yeah,
he actually the reason he well not maybe not the reason, but like what helped him. He around his town. Somebody it got like leaked that Myles Garrett was coming to play basketball at an open gym, and he went it's like the gym posted like any videographers want to come shoot tonight, and he went and got some like crazy dunks from Myles Garrett, and then ESPN, Sports Center, like all of the big time Instagrams, like those organizations, like messaged him, wanted to use it, and then he actually talked to Myles Garrett's media guy and was like, they exchanged information, and then like he's like the next like week I was over at Myles Garrett's house like shooting stuff for him.
That's how
Then
it
he
happens.
started working for Myles, like just going to games and recording Myles Garrett for highlights, and then it turned into the NFL job. Now he's working the NFL and Ohio State, and I was like, how cool would that be? Like Saturday you're at an Ohio State game shooting content, Sunday you're at a Cleveland Browns game shooting content. It's like that's pretty good life.
Yeah, it's busy life.
Yeah.
Because that's what I learned this year was like, it's super cool to be able to go do all these things, but also it kind of sucked.
Yeah. Well, you were gone. You left like not long after your wedding, didn't you?
Like the week after. We haven't had a honeymoon yet because like it was the week after I had to go to a race.
Yeah.
So it was like we went about this time, end of January, beginning of February. We went to California, King of Hammers. We were out there. We had a shoot before that for mountain biking. Then we had hammers. Then we stayed in Colorado for a week. So I was gone for a month.
Wow.
And then
just married and gone for a month.
Well, that was before we got married. That was January of last year.
That's right.
And then we came back. We didn't have really anything. We had the Utah shoot, which was the new product for Can-Am. Came back. That was like a week and a half-ish because we drove out. And then came back. Kyle had his like short course series, which was like 6 or 7 races, and it was like a week because we'd have to drive up to Wisconsin. The race was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then it would take us a day or two to get back. Those were like every other week, or every like 3 weeks, all summer long. And then we had another Can-Am like shoot for their four-wheelers, their new four-wheelers and stuff. And then we had an NRX with Nitro Rallycross for Yokohama. It was like all super sick things to do and like super fun.
But you're gone.
Yes. And that's the thing. And it was like, it sucked. I got married in June. We got dog, like animals, and like Hannah's at home by herself, taking care of all of it, like doing it herself. And it got to the point where it does kind of, if I was single, hell yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's go. But like, when you actually
have other priorities.
Yeah, when you actually have someone that you care about, that you're like, all right, she's at home by herself.
Yeah.
Taking care of the dog, like doing all this stuff. Like, I'm just in a different time of my life where I'm like, I don't want to be gone all the time. Like, even if I have to come back and work a different style of job where I'm gone during the day.
Well, it plays into like, what's your overall happiness? Like, you get to do all this really cool stuff, but is this like what you want to do forever? Like you have to weigh out all the pros and cons of it sometimes. And it is a tough thing because it's like you could be walking away from an amazing career that you would love so much, but what would your family life be like? What was and like all those things come into play.
Big time. That's like kind of the past few months what I've been thinking about was like, man, this was super fun. Like while I'm there, it sucks because it's like when you're a photographer, videographer,
you don't really get to like necessarily, I feel like, enjoy it as much as other people because you're worried about the next shot.
Yeah, you got to do that. But then also like we work all day getting the shots. And then for a lot of our stuff, it was like next day turnaround.
Yeah.
So we'd work all day, go back to the camper, and then work until midnight or later. And then
getting everything.
Or wake up in the morning and work in the morning and then do it all again. So it was like 16, 18-hour days, 3 or 4 days in a row. It's hard. Like it sucks. But then like I'm thinking like, man, I don't want Hannah to be home all by herself. Like, I'm actually got someone else at home that I want her to be happy. And I know, yes, I'm making good money, but me being gone every other week for weeks at a time is not making her happy. And like, not saying like that's all that matters, but like I want her to be happy.
That's a big,
very big, important thing. Like, yes, this job is cool and I get to meet these cool people, but also she's not happy, which like makes me like feel like, well, shit.
Yeah.
I want her to be happy and that makes me happy because I mean, if you don't have a happy wife,
you don't have a happy life.
No. So I was like, and she supports anything like I want to do. So she's like, do whatever you want. but like she just, you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, whatever makes you happy. And I'm like, well,
No, that's a trap as a woman. Like as a man, you're like, what does that mean?
Are you being for real right now?
Like, if I do everything I want, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. So then I'm like, well, I want to be home more, and that might mean I got to work every day at like a regular job.
Mhm.
But if I go to work at 7 and get home at 3, then I get to spend every night with her
Yeah.
and like the animals and friends, and like I get to go do stuff.
Mhm.
Like Kyle's one of our good friends now, but like when he's at races, that's his job.
Yep.
Like he's not hanging out like
It's his own. Like you're in
goofing
a,
off
yeah.
with us and like hanging out. Like he goes out, he races, he comes back. He's very stoic and like quiet at races and very reserved. So it's not like we're hanging out with a buddy the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like people from the outside view it as like, oh, you just get to hang out with Pastrana and like have all this fun and just, you're just hanging out and just having all kinds of crazy fun. It's like, no, we're working.
Yeah, not completely. There are times when like, yes, like when he wins, he has fun. We got to be really good friends with like his mechanics and stuff, and like we mess around and hang out with them. But then like they're there working also. Like we're all there working. Like there are times when we get to hang out and mess around, but most of the time we're freaking working. And
it's usually like at the beginning and at the end you get to, I feel like, to have a lot of the fun. But like that middle part, they're like that's the serious time. That's the time to focus on like what you're there to do.
Everyone's there and they have a job to do, and that's their living. Kyle makes a living racing and winning. Mechanics have to make sure his cars do not break and there's nothing wrong with it. We got to get all the shots we need. Like we're there to work, so it's from the outside looking in, it looks like it's awesome and like the coolest job you can have. But traveling all the time and doing it's
like there's a lot of cool things that happen, but like also like it is still a job. Like there's still a lot that has to be done.
And the like making our own schedule and everything, that's also cool. But like it's there's trade-offs. So like now if I go work general like construction or like whatever I'm gonna do, I won't be able to make my own schedule, but I'll have more time off in the evenings and like I'll be working probably for my buddy. So like I'm still gonna have to do everything, but like I'm gonna like who I work for.
Yeah.
Which is like a big, like you said it earlier, you like your boss, you like who you work with, and it makes it fun.
Yeah.
And not feel like it's like
a job. Like yes, it's a job, but also like you truly actually enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, and like I've noticed that recently, like that's a big thing for me, and I feel like a lot of people who hate their jobs they don't necessarily hate their job, they hate like who they're around. And I've figured out recently that like that's a big thing for me. Is my mood and like how I view certain activities and things is highly, highly dependent on like who's there with me. And if I like the person there, like Roger, love him, one of my best friends. I could do the worst jobs in the world, but if he's like there doing it and like helping and we're there hanging out, that's fine. Like we can go dig on horns all day long. Like digging trails hard.
Yeah.
But if all of us are there, then it's not so bad.
Nope. It's the same with us with concrete day. We hate concrete day. We all hate it. But like we try to make it fun. Like you gotta, if you have fun with it, guess what? The day's a lot more enjoyable. Like the one day we did concrete in the pouring down rain. Like it is pouring down rain. Like, we're the only people, we could get concrete right away because we're the only people dumb enough to be outside doing concrete.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know what? At some point, like you're already wet. Like you're gonna get soaked.
Yeah.
Like I was like, there's times where like you'll take a puddle and just like throw it at the person. Like you take your shovel and it's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, dude, you're already soaked. You didn't even know you got wet. You just felt a little bit of water hit you. Like, and it's like, but like you just start messing around and like, yeah, you're still there to do a job and you got to be serious. But like also like when you have fun with it, it just makes everything go a lot smoother and be way more enjoyable.
It's way more fun.
Yes.
And you can do it longer and just honestly do a better job.
Yeah.
If you're having fun with it.
Yeah. I feel like you like, yeah, I agree with that. I feel like if I mess around, I'll do a better job. Or like, because I feel like you're less scared to mess up. Because like, there's times where I'll make cuts on patios, and I'm like, like if I mess this up, like that could cost thousands of dollars if I cut wrong, or if I or it could be a simple $4 thing. But like if it is an important thing, and I remember my buddy being like, "Hey, like you're making this cut," and I'm like, "You want me to screw it up?" He's like, there's only one way to fuck it up. You might as well do it now. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you mean do it now? No, like, and he's just messing with me. But then all of a sudden, like, you feel a little less like
Not
stress.
serious,
Yeah. It just makes it a little better.
Yeah.
But we're going to go into the final segments of the podcast. And I have a question that I like to ask all of my guests. And it is, if you could go back in time and ask your 16-year-old self, or tell your 16-year-old self one thing, what would it be? You're not the only one. That's usually what everybody does.
I know.
I don't tell
can
people about this
imagine.
question because I want it to be.
Put them on the spot.
Yep.
Well, money-wise, I would have said buy Bitcoin and then sell Bitcoin.
Oh, 100%.
But as like a life thing, I don't know. I feel like I don't regret or like anything that I've done or like figured out so far. So
Mhm.
I would just tell myself to like kind of just what I already did, just do what you love, like do what you
Mhm.
love doing, and as long as you love doing it, then good things will come.
100%.
Good experiences will come from it.
Yeah. I mean, like, you see, we see it all the time with people like that have a passion for things and like are good at things. Like, I got Sierra to finally, hopefully, start up an Etsy shop. And
Yeah.
I'm like, she loves doing like painting. She loves doing the wood burning type stuff. And I'm like,
Do it.
start a shop. Like, you like doing it. Like, and she's like, well, I don't think like people are buy it. I'm like, you gave my parents a wooden sign that you would burn for Christmas, and my mom, I think, was about to cry.
Yeah.
Like, and when I told her like Sierra did that by hand, she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, I was like, "You had the talent." Like, there's a lot of people that have the skill, have the talent, have the passion, but they're afraid to go do it. You were one of the people I feel like that took that opportunity, and yeah, like it came in waves and it came in like spurts of how it kind of all started. But you have to like go do it, go try it. Like we said, you're not gonna know you don't like it until you try it.
That's what I was gonna say for your Motivation Monday thing was like you're never gonna know unless you like go try it. Like there's nothing wrong with like you thinking you might like this or you might want to try this. The only thing wrong with that is like not trying.
Yeah.
Like, you need to, even if you mess up, like
You didn't.
you should mess up.
It's
like,
not a failure.
that's
like
how you learn to do stuff is by messing up or
Mhm.
fucking it up or doing something wrong. But the best way to figure out if you like it or you're going to be good at it is just do it. You're not going to ever be good at it if you don't try it.
Exactly. Like that patio I put in, like Sierra helped a ton. I have to give her credit, but like that I never would have thought I'd have been able to do that.
Yeah.
But I also never thought I'd even have the job I have. So but I tried it. Like I didn't know. I had no clue. My brother-in-law knew my boss and was like, "Hey, he's looking for some help if you want to go work for him," because I didn't have a job in the middle of college, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll go do it." I had no clue. Like they would send me to go get a tool, and I'd look at it and be like, "I don't even know what that is."
What?
And like to the point where sometimes I'd look it up on my phone while I'm walking to the trailer, like, what is whatever he just called that?
Yeah.
And like, you don't know, but like, I love it. I never would have thought like in high school or, when I was a kid, like, oh, I'd be putting in pools and patios. I'd love doing it.
Yeah.
But like, you never know until you do it. And like, sometimes, originally it was kind of just like a college job. And when I got out of college, I was going to go get a different job. And now I'm here 2 years later, still working at this job.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen.
It's scary. It's scary to do it too.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times, like especially like once we get to like this age or older, like you're in a routine, you got something that's making you money, and you have to change that. Like that's a scary ass.
Oh, it's really scary too. But my job is like in the winters. A lot of times, I mean, we're not getting in 40-hour weeks.
No.
Well, luckily we have a new shop, so we have a ton of stuff to do this year. But like last year, we had rain for like 7 straight weeks.
Yeah.
We couldn't get pools. It was nice 80-degree weather. The pool supplier was so far behind that we were 12 weeks like out on a pool.
Yeah.
We went like 2 months without doing a job. We didn't have any work. I wasn't getting paid for those 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's scary. But like, and that, like, you have to weigh those things into like, is this a job that I want to do? But like, also, you never know if you might get put on salary because you stuck around when things were a little tighter, a little harder. Like, and that's the thing too. Like, I started with him when he was in patios. Like, he started out as a mowing company, and now he's putting in
pools,
really expensive jobs. But it's one of those things that, like, I'm starting out at a small company. There's a lot of room to grow. That's some of the things you have to weigh in too. But like, like you said, you're never gonna know if you like something until you just try.
Yeah, or you're good at it, or like
Mm-hmm.
like Sierra with that stuff. Like she likes doing it. It doesn't mean she has to do it full time.
No,
But like if she likes doing it, why not just do it a little bit? And then it could go like, wow, I made $3,000 a month this month by doing something I love.
that covers the mortgage.
Yeah.
Like that covers this. That covers bills.
That covers like all the bills.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that'd be
like,
great. And it's just something that she likes to do.
and the
like,
thing is, if you don't like it, it's real easy. Just be like, all right,
take the listing off Etsy.
Yep, done.
That's it.
I can keep this stuff and just do it when I want to, or I can just sell my the XYZ, whatever it is. Yeah, but
it's something that like that I've learned is you have to try.
Yeah.
And if you don't try, then I think I would feel worse about stuff like regret wise and stuff if I just didn't try. Like you're never gonna regret trying something more than you're gonna regret like not trying.
I'd rather not live in a what if world. Like I don't want to be telling myself like, what if I'd have done this?
What if I tried this?
Yeah.
Like, but if you tried it and you're like, wow, that sucked. then from now on, you're like,
I never want to do that again.
Once and that sucked.
Yeah. Hey, you want to get in this? No, I do not.
Like,
I'm good.
I never want to do that in my life. Like, you want to start a concrete company?
No,
absolutely not. Like,
No.
So being able to say that you've tried stuff, I think is a huge thing. Instead of saying, well, I wish I would have, or something. I hear older people say that. And I'm like, why didn't you try it?
Yeah.
Like everyone's got the time. People might not have the money, but there are ways to try it. YouTube's free.
Yep.
You can look up literally anything on YouTube and do stuff on a budget. Like podcasts, you can spend $10,000 on podcasting equipment.
I hardly spend any money at all. I buy microphones and that's about it. Like,
and you're doing it. 143 episodes.
Yeah. Like you can do it in a way that you hardly spend money. And like the thing, like you mentioned, like I'm getting into potentially like making things out of leather, some leatherwork stuff. I looked up on YouTube last night. I watched a whole video and it was literally the most beginner video. And he said like, if you're a person that's coming here, like I normally do tutorials on how to do things, like this video is not for you.
Yeah.
This is like a very beginning video of like teaching people like it gave you a list of these are the tools you need. I have links for like, here's the expensive one, here's the cheap one. If you're just he's like, I recommend a cheap one for starting out, like all this kind of stuff. And like showing you some of the dumbest stuff of like that you think is dumb. And he's like, get cheap leather. And you're like, wait, why would you want to get cheap leather? And he's like, take that leather and just literally practice cutting straight lines, practice cutting curves. He's like, you're going to waste this leather. That's fine. That's why I'm saying buy cheap stuff, but it's just so you can practice making those cuts, practice stitching, practice this. And I was like, holy crap. Like it's real. And like, there's 100 videos that are just like that
about everything.
Yes. No matter what it is.
There's literally like, if you're at a job or something or starting a job, there are hundreds of people on YouTube telling you exactly how to do all these things that you're going to be doing. And you can learn them when you're not even on the job.
Yeah.
Like you can come home and learn stuff and then go to work or go do whatever you're doing and know how to do these things just because you took a little bit of effort and applied yourself into figuring it out beforehand.
Yeah.
That your employer, like if that's what you're doing, is going to be like, wow, like this guy actually put some effort in.
How many
like,
personal trainers do you think learned from videos on YouTube?
All of them. Or watching Instagram.
Yeah. Still to this day.
Yeah.
Like I went to high school with a couple kids that are personal. Now you have those that are like, they're personal trainers, but you're like, okay, you don't know what you're doing. But then you also have the people that like do look like they know what they're doing and are throwing together. And it's like, you can also tell the people that just watch a few YouTube videos versus the people that actually research like, all right, what does this lift do? What does this movement do? Like, what does this diet do? Like all that kind of stuff that actually did the research, but it's all available. No matter what you want to be in life, you don't have to go to school if you don't. Certain things, you might have to go to school. But like, you don't necessarily have to go to school. Everything is just available out there for you to do whatever the heck you want to do.
It just takes a little bit of applied effort.
Yes, that is the thing. You got to put in the time.
Yeah, everything you have to.
Yeah, but I think that's the perfect. I mean, you kind of already gave some of it away, but we're gonna go into the Motivation Monday. Motivation Monday is the point in the episode where I allow the guests to give the Roughnecks listeners a little inspirational bump to set the tone for their week as they listen on Monday morning. So what do you got for Motivation Monday?
It's like I was saying earlier, like if there's something on your mind that you like want to do and you're like scared or nervous or just don't know what to do, I think the best thing to do is like if that's what you think you want and you have any want to do it, just try it. Like there's really no harm in trying to do something and seeing if you like it, because it could change the course of your whole entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be like you thought you wanted to do it, you try it, find out you didn't like it. But then you actually have that like knowledge of, yes, I tried it, I didn't like it, and then you don't, like you said, you don't have to live on, well, what if I tried that?
Mm-hmm.
What if I did this, or what if I did that? You actually know. So that's kind of what I've come to these past couple months myself. Is like, if I think I want to do this, or I think I want to give this a shot, like first thing to do is just try it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, everything, like we talked, everything's at your fingertips. And like, it's not necessarily a failure too. Like when you mess something up or it doesn't work out, you didn't fail, you learn. Like it is the biggest way you will learn. I've said it a million times on this podcast. You will learn more from your failures than you ever will your successes.
Oh yeah.
And everybody that has those successes, they went through failures first.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had things that did not go wrong. You fell on your bike how many times?
Oh yeah, a lot.
You know, things happen. It's going to happen. Good. Let it happen. Now try to avoid it, obviously, but like it's going to happen.
It's not going to be the end of your life.
No.
Especially if it's like business wise or stuff like that, like, or hobbies. Like if you want to try it, do it. And if you're not good at it or you end up quitting, like your life's not over. It's not like that's not who you are, and like you're fine.
Yeah.
Like move
100%.
on and then go to the next thing or figure something out. Like, and if it doesn't work, then just be done.
Yep.
Or you can figure it out.
Yeah.
And if you figure it out, you're going to be way better at it because you failed.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I talked about the leather. The other thing I tried to do is the wood, like chiseling and like making things with your knife out of wood.
Yeah.
Found out I couldn't do that. I only tried it a few times, but I was like, I don't have the patience for it. I don't have it. The leather, I already made one thing out of leather. Didn't like exactly how it turned out, but it's one of those things that like, I'm like, I know what I did wrong and I know what I need to do to fix it. So like but it's one of those things I actually have the interest in compared to the wood. And it's like, you're going to try things, some things that you're going to mess up on, and you're going to be like, I didn't really even enjoy doing.
Yeah.
That's fine. You don't have to do it. But then you might also have that thing, you're going to mess it up. But I actually did like that. I did really like doing that.
Because you tried.
Yeah. Because you just gave it a shot.
You figured it out.
I give a lot of credit to Sierra because she was doing all this artsy stuff. I was like, I want to make something cool. Like,
yeah. Little cool fact. My great grandpa was a carpenter. He used to make birds.
Dude.
So he would carve like full like great blue herons, like
that's insane.
peregrine falcons, like all these
like
birds.
The stuff you see at Backwoods Fest.
Yeah, carve them by hand, like in his garage, like insanely detailed things. And that just made me think of that when you said you tried carving stuff.
I tried it and I ruined 2 pieces of wood. I gave it a shot, but I was like, I don't have the patience for this.
Oh, dude, it's
like I'm a detail oriented person. Like I focus sometimes over focus on the freaking details, but like it's something like I don't know. I just couldn't. My mind, it's too slow of a process. Like the leather, that for some reason, like it goes a lot faster.
A little quicker.
Yeah. So like the long processes, I say that, but then also like we'll spend a month putting in a patio, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
it's just certain things, man.
Yeah,
like,
but it's because you try. Like it's all it is.
You have to the things you want and are interested in. You just gotta give it a shot.
Exactly. But I really appreciate you coming on for episode 143. Where can people follow you and find your YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff?
The YouTube channel is called the Cherubinis, and then my social media is basically just Instagram. It's just at Chase Cherubini.
There will be links to this in the description. Be sure to go check out the YouTube and go give him a follow. But until Friday, you guys know the deal. Life is hard and it's going to knock you down just like a bull does to a bull rider. Don't let the bull of life walk all over you. Get up, grab the bull by the horns, and take control of your life. Roughnecks, out. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. If you liked today's episode, then please be sure to share it with a friend. You can follow the Roughnecks Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Roughnecks Podcast. Head over to roughneckspodcast.com and grab yourself some Roughnecks merch. Until next time, make sure you grab the bull by the horns and take control of your life. Roughnecks, out.